The Doctors was an iconic soap opera, one of the very first.
This show has everything. It's got intrigue and murder and extramarital affairs. And
The Doctors was one of the first TV series that really addressed darker issues.
Had a great storyline.
You try and watch for just a minute or two, and then here you go, 22 minutes later. I gotta know, is Carol Lee gonna get out of that coma?
Cancer, drug abuse.
kidnapping and just anything you can think of.
What's Nick's deal this week?
But you love it. You know, you're a fan.
The Doctors began airing on Retro TV in 2014. With 20 seasons and 5,155 episodes spanning 19 years, fans of the show were delighted to have their beloved soap opera back on screen for the first time in 3 decades. And after several years ingesting with an outside company, the decision was made to bring the warehousing and digitization of the Doctor's library directly to Retro TV, with one significant speed bump that would shut down literally everything.
Well, when we cut the deal, I knew there was a lot of stuff available. I became aware that there was far more stuff sitting in warehouses, that Colgate had stocked all the original tapes in that were just sitting there in Pennsylvania. We made the decision to bring them in-house, digitize everything, and have the whole series from start to finish. Unfortunately, we hit COVID.
The toll of the coronavirus widens here in the U.S.
Really slowed us down. Everybody went on remote. Obviously, the whole world was the same. They were also shut down. So we not only got stymied in the digitization process, we got stymied in actually getting the tapes because that warehouse got closed down. We couldn't even get them shipped here. So we were delayed until really after COVID. So we got an interruption of at least 2 years.
With well over a year of playing the waiting game, the warehouse was finally unlocked, and the Doctor's library made its way from a warehouse in Pennsylvania to Chattanooga, Tennessee. But receiving thousands of old television reels would prove to be a monumental undertaking in and of itself.
The day that the pallets came.
We received tons and tons of pallets of these reels. I think literal tons in weight terms.
32, 33 boxes that came in, and they're all filled with, do we have one of those reels? They were full of these. These are the tapes. 2 semi-trailers full of these 10 to 50 pound tapes, upwards of 1,000 pounds, each of these boxes. So it took all day long, and we had to get pallet jacks. There's a forklift involved, and we had to find out who at the place could operate a forklift. It was a thing. It was an ordeal.
But little did they know, processing the tapes would be an even bigger struggle to overcome.
The Doctors comes in on reels of tape that are different than anything else we've ever worked with, and honestly, different than most people have ever worked with. We went to great lengths to find a machine to digitize it.
Interestingly enough, to digitize these tapes required a very special machine.
It's got these giant reels on them. It's got an itty bitty little TV screen, and it kind of looks like it belongs in Dr. Frankenstein's lab. And it was apparently a nightmare just trying to find the parts to make it work.
They don't make them anymore, so it was either find these components or even make them in-house.
It was not at all a normal process.
There's like one guy in the entire country that actually knows anything about this machine.
At one point, I remember hearing that the guys digitizing actually had to bake the rolls of tape, like literally bake them in little ovens because of how they had been stored over time, and it helped them from disintegrating during the process. There's way, way more to this process than I understand. I think we'll let the VO guy take over and explain that to you, but it's certainly fascinating and sort of a miracle unto itself that we were able to make it happen as well as we did.
To digitize the Doctors, first, the tapes must be baked at a low temperature to remove excess moisture built up over decades of storage. This moisture is extremely damaging to the video head required to digitize the tapes. This baking was done in food dehydrators to ensure the safety of the reels. Then, every reel must be taken apart and checked to see if any of the deteriorating glue from the old cases had leaked onto the tape. If glue was found, each defective tape had to be hand-delivered over 3 hours away to one of the only people in the world that still knows how to remove the glue without damaging the highly sensitive magnetic tapes. A process so unique and complicated we don't even have the time to share it with you today, but each tape affected took at least 24 hours to fully remove the glue. Finally, once the tapes are baked, deglued, and ready for ingest, it then required constant monitoring to ensure the digitization machine functioned properly. A frustrating task filled with stops, starts, and plenty of redos. This process is also a 1-to-1 ratio for time, which means that for every minute of tape that exists, it takes a minute to process. And with thousands of hours of the doctors to digitize, this was a months-long endeavor at best, and as it neared conclusion, yet another setback was uncovered.
I don't know exactly who went through all of the tapes and checked all of the inventory, but as it turned out, the episodes from September of 1980 through the end of the series in 1982 never were delivered. We checked with Colgate, the owners of the show, The Doctors, and they also didn't have the reels. We hoped maybe there was a mix-up in the warehouse or somewhere down the line, but it seems like those reels have just disappeared, and nobody knows what happened to them, where they are, or if they even still are anywhere.
Unfortunately, there was a process that occurred during the time that these shows were made where tapes, they saved the programs on tapes, but they decided at some point that the tapes were more valuable as tape than the content on it, and there was a practice that reused these tapes. The last 2 years of this program that were taken over strictly by NBC suffered that fate, and unfortunately, those 2 years are no longer available. In fact, they no longer exist, which is tragic, but this is part of the problem with anything that was shot during that era.
Despite the setbacks and hurdles, Retro TV is proud to bring new episodes of The Doctors back from the vaults of television history.
My team had a lot of pressure and a lot of stress to digitize and transition all these tapes, and I think they did an amazing job, because this is not something, even a hugely large company that only specializes in this kind of stuff would have a very difficult time doing this anyway. And to put this on people that this is not their regular process job, we had to really relearn a lot of things and do things like it was done then. And the proof is in the viewing. I mean, I can't say enough about the people who did it.
I think it's really incredible what we've been able to save from The Doctors, and a lot of these other series that are out there that we're working to preserve, that other companies like us are working to preserve. I just think that it's a magic thing that we're able to bring that stuff back at all. And I, for one, am really proud of us for being able to share with you guys what we've been able to put out there so far.
I think everybody's going to be satisfied, and they're going to understand that even though it took a long time, it's worth the time.
These new episodes of The Doctors are now available to watch on demand on the It's Real Good TV app, available anywhere you download apps. Or you can watch online at itsrealgoodtv.com. Retro TV will also air 4 new episodes on Saturdays beginning July 29th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. We hope you enjoy the new content because we worked hard to make sure you got it. Thank you for watching and supporting Retro TV and The Doctors.
It's been a blast captioning The Doctors, and I hope I'll get the opportunity to do some more.
Oh, you remember that episode where Matt's wife has that stalker and he keeps showing up in the windows all creepy and being like, "Oh, I'm stalking you. I see you in there and you don't know I'm out here." And then they have that final confrontation on the rooftop. That is a good storyline.
Do you think Not a Doctor and Dracula look alike?
I'm not even gonna acknowledge that. No, I plead the fifth.